Good morning. Can anybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? Great. Why don't we do this while the folks are running away from me? We will start with our video that shows you what the truck does. Let me find the clicker somewhere. Do I have a clicker somewhere? Do I have a clicker somewhere? Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. So my name is Wen. I'm the founder and CEO of Windrose, and we specialize in zero emissions electric Class 8 trucks. Our trucks are running on 4 continents across Europe, North America, Asia, and Oceania. And while folks are settling down, we'll show a video first of what our product does. Let's see. There we go. It's a couple minutes.
Ground where we are standing, holding dreams with open hands against the sky. We see it now, the story comes together, beauty lives in every chapter. We feel it now, nothing could be better.
Thank you. I hope that woke you up a little bit. How many of you have been inside a large, heavy-duty truck before? Whoa. Wow, we have a lot of trucks people. And how many of you have been inside an electric heavy-duty truck? Wow, fantastic. So I think I got the right crowd here. Our mission is to really make the world's first ever global EV truck. As you guys know, trucks are traditionally very different between US and Europe, also China. We're trying to start from a clean slate and design a zero emissions platform that's common for really all major markets of the world. And we're lucky to be spotted by a number of the major media platforms in the world. And our job also is to raise awareness that EV trucks just work. They work as a product, they work as economically in terms of saving money. And we're supported by many of our partners. I'm seeing one of them there. So SMAPI is one of our charging partners and one of our best ones. And I'm happy to see them here. So we cover most of the world's largest economies as ranked by GDP. The blue ones are where we already have our trucks. And the orange ones are the markets that we'd like to go to next. So naturally, UK is orange as of today. In about 90 days or maybe 6 months, that color will become blue. The key metric about electric trucks is simply the range, the loaded range or the unloaded range. So we start by showing you the unloaded range that we perform. So we show a mix of imperial numbers and metrics just to cater to the broad audience that we have. 700 miles or 1,100 kilometers is what we average with our tractor without hauling cargo. But of course, that's not interesting enough. With cargo, across United States, Europe, China, and Australia, we're averaging well over 600 kilometers. When I made the slide, we didn't have the number for the United States yet, but now we do. It's actually over 600 kilometers. So when we think of our use case, it's really the long haul, major highway corridors that we're electrifying. What is even more interesting is we believe this is the first time an electric Class 8 or heavy-duty truck has ever been hauling a double trailer, right? So this is one of the tests we did in Denmark, not so far from here, and it's 64 tons total weight, and we achieved 310 miles. That's about 500 kilometers. You may be wondering what was in that truck. It's actually a truckload of vitamin water, right? So many people are suspicious of EV trucks. Are you hauling potato chips? Are you hauling nitrogen? Are you hauling empty trailers? No, it's actually quite heavy. We couldn't fill up the trailer because the weight was already exceeding the legal limit with vitamin drinks. We also demonstrated we've hauled and worked with every kind of trailer. So compatibility and interoperability are our two key words, and we really make sure we demonstrate the usability with any type of trailer you have, from the smallest 20-foot sea container to the largest double trailer that you saw in Denmark. We're also going to perform a series of double trailer testing in Canada, in Australia, and also in the Nordics. So anybody who has an interest in double trailer or super heavy load and super long range, come talk to us. What are the different things or features about the truck that actually result in the performance, right? So without going into too much technical jargon, one of the simplest things is our design of the cab. So by having the driver sit in the middle in the center driving configuration, what that means is we're structurally changing the aerodynamics of the truck. I believe this should be one of the first ever center driving configured trucks you've seen, because for the last 120 years, trucks have had two seats in the front, and sort of the square or square-ish phase is what yields the terrible aerodynamics. So this here enables us to reduce our aerodynamics by more than, or improve it by more than 50%. It's got a drag coefficient similar to a passenger sedan, unlike what we call the refrigerator phase of a typical truck. What's also different about the truck is the chassis design. So we have started with a clean slate, right? So our chassis looks nothing like a traditional truck because you really have to build the truck around the battery. If you want to make a fantastic EV, you really need to start with thinking about how the battery would fit and how to optimize both the shape of the truck, the aerodynamics, and the layout of the structure with the truck. What this enables us to do is we're also able to be highly interoperable. So there's many charging folks here, right? We have demonstrated interoperability with over 300 chargers. In fact, anyone you see in this exhibition today, I believe we've already tested with them successfully, or will before you see me the next time. Right? So thinking of how to be usable by any of our customers across Europe, United States, North America, Asia, and Oceania. We also offer all charging standards, CCS1, CCS2, MCS, and also the GB standard in China. What we should also add is we're breaking the record in every country. Everywhere we go, we're charging at the fastest speed a production truck has ever charged. So my friend here from SMAPI, we actually just broke the record in Europe or in the world? In Europe. And I think we'll also break the world record very soon, right? So being able to be interoperable with any charger there is at the fastest speed and power anyone can get, also charging on both sides at the same time, is how we make the truck usable, right, to our customer under any circumstance. We also have a different view when it comes to production and making the trucks. So we have modularized our truck design so that we start with the supply chain largely in China, which is where the world's best EV supply chain lives today. But we'd like to grow that and expand that ecosystem overseas to folks like Europe, of course, the UK, also in the United States. What we do is we separate out the final assembly from the core componentry, and then from the upstream process for our key smaller components, right? So battery cells, we get from our suppliers. Battery packs, we design that ourselves. We're able to assemble them ourselves. And then the entire truck assembly today we can do in China, in Europe, in Belgium, which is our home base, also in France with our newer facility announced there, and also in the United States. Whereas anywhere there's a meaningful customer, we can be assembling and delivering and also repairing the trucks close to you. And I have one more thing, which is we've talked about electrification a lot, right? What we do is we also want to share with you our future roadmap, which is autonomy. So having studied at Stanford, I'm a math and AI person myself, right? So AI automation, of course, is the future for trucking. And we believe electric trucks are the perfect foundation for a truly autonomous and driverless truck. Right? So for that, we're also open to working with partners. So if you're in the self-driving space, and depending on your region, if you're in any of the 4 regions we play in, please come talk to us. There's a number of our guys here. Why don't you raise your hand if you're a Windrose person? So Matt is here, Ron is over there. Anybody with the vest, we've got a couple guys back there, so you can find us later today. And that actually is my presentation with even a few minutes to spare. How about I take some questions from the audience? You're welcome to clap. That's thank you. Sir.
You recently did a run, I understand, from Antwerp to Budapest and back. Could you tell the audience a bit about that and what was the outcome?
That was not planted. So we recently did a trip from Netherlands, right, to Hungary, hauling server equipments or servers for one of our main customers called the ATC, which is part of the Arvato group, one of the world's top 50 logistics companies. We did that trip from Belgium to from Netherlands to Hungary, all electric. It was I think 2,000 kilometers and 2,000 kilometers and more, and we did it in a timeliness that's equivalent to diesel. So we charged at public charging stops from the western part of Europe all the way to Hungary, and we only had to stop for charging without losing any time relative to diesel. So what we're demonstrating is even in Europe, and of course in China and in the United States and in Australia, where there's abundant supply of electricity, maybe not the world's best grid yet, but if you plan your trips carefully with a long-range truck that's fast chargeable, you're able to actually match the performance of a diesel truck. The logo up there is ATC, which is part of the Arvato group. Yes, sir. Should I?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Decisions on fleets are not emotional, they're financial and operational. What's your assessment of the total cost of ownership of this amazing product versus the existing ICE in the market?
Thank you. So our sales pitch is simple. For most markets that we operate in, the TCO is better than diesel in about 5 years or 1 million kilometers. Right? So if you operate trucks for more than 1 million kilometers over the lifetime, within, let's say, 5 to 10 years, we can save you money. The only places where this is not always true is continental Europe, where electricity pricing could be higher. Right? So therefore, we pair that with the right amount of on-site power generation. So let's say you've got a wind tunnel or a windmill. Let's say you've got solar panels nearby. We can offer you, don't forget, we have 729 kilowatt hour. Right? So we can charge the truck slow trickle at night next to a windmill. or even during lunchtime when there's too much sun. And in fact, many of the windmills are turned off during lunchtime. So we offer basically any kind of charging we can work with. So therefore, as long as you can find a reasonably cheap, cleaner, and also cheaper power supply, we can provide the trucks to be near that site so that you can charge and actually save money. In terms of the fleets, today we're working with 6 of the world's top 10 logistics companies, right? And what we have noticed is, even though many of the larger logistics companies have been disillusioned with EV performance before, they're now realizing perhaps this is actually real, right? So with every new technology, you go through a curve of excitement and bubble, and then disappointment, and then slowly you come back up from the bottom. And I think we're trying to do that for the EV heavy-duty truck sector. Oh, maybe you come up here.
Thank you, great presentation. I have Windrose is working from battery, vehicle intelligence, as well as control systems. So what do you think about full stack ownership versus platform interoperability with other actors?
So the question is, what do I think of buying parts versus? Yeah. Well, as much as we would love to own everything, we don't have enough money to own everything, right? So we have to come from a origin of sort of understanding of the reality. When I started the company in 2022, many of you probably lost money in the stock market that year. The entire planet lost money in the stock market, right? So we were forced to start the company on a very careful budget in an environment where people are hostile or highly suspicious to our industry. So therefore, we don't have the luxury of starting with $1 billion to buy or build everything. We're also lucky because as we started the company in China, where I grew up, the supply chain is so much readier, as you guys know. Right? So one of our partners is BYD, for instance, on the battery side. This is classically a deal where the supplier, the partner, have spent decades building up their infrastructure and their scale. We're benefiting from that. Now, we've had to spend over $100 million on owning the patents and designing the technology behind it, but we haven't had to spend $1 billion to build factories because our partners have. One thing we're doing, though, that's interesting is, as you guys may know, we announced the factory in Valenciennes in northern France. That's why I had President Macron sign my truck, and we had dinner together. We're inviting suppliers and friends of ours from China and the rest of Asia to come to Europe and also come in the United States to co-locate with us, to also share our space in the factory, because we've done what I call EV diplomacy work to be welcome and to be sort of supporting the local community, right? So we're actually helping grow that supply chain instead of trying to do everything ourselves. So making friends is really important, more so than ever. Yeah. Maybe one last question? Okay.
Thank you. You mentioned your support for the MCS charging standard there. I'd just be curious your thoughts on megawatt charging, how important it is to electrify trucking, and your thoughts on the pace of rollout.
So the question is, what do I think of MCS charging? I think MCS charging, megawatt charging, will be fantastic. A few years ago, the iPhone refused to move on to the Type-C. You guys remember the Type-C plug? And then the iPhone made you buy their Lightning stuff. And starting from iPhone 15, everybody moved to the Type-C, right? So I believe MCS may very well become the Type-C that unifies global charging standards. So no longer do we have to carry a suitcase of charging adapters. However, what happens in the meantime is CCS1 in the United States, CCS2 here in Europe, also in the UK, will still be prevalent, right? So you've got to be compatible. So effectively, what we've done is, even in our truck, we have 2 plugs. So we even have a version that offers CCS charging and MCS charging, one on each side. Imagine your iPhone had a Type-C and a Lightning plug and the traditional Type-A, right? We really want to be interoperable in the meantime. while we wait for the technology to truly take over. I think that's time. Thank you very much.